Usually I'd be like 205, 208. I'm 220 right now. The chemistry is great. I feel good. I play football. That's what I'm here for.
No, I have to admit, this is probably the most out-of-pocket thing I've ever seen on Twitter. I mean, this is a side shot of Lamar Jackson, and look at the meme they already made out of it. I guess that's what they meant when they were saying that he gained muscle mass. But on a more serious note, we have a lot to update you guys on, and it seems like the mini Lamar Jackson saga has, at least from my perspective, come to a close. This is great news if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan. I'm gonna catch you guys up on everything that has to do with the Lamar Jackson presser in this video. Now, before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. You can support us further on Patreon and my channel memberships program. And of course, check us out on TikTok for short versions of these videos. Now that we got all of that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Let me set the stage for you guys real quick. Lamar Jackson, after getting drafted to the Baltimore Ravens and having a very unique rookie season, absolutely took the league by storm in the 2019 NFL season, in a year where he won NFL MVP and first team All-Pro, in addition to making his first Pro Bowl, which is absolutely awesome because he did this one season after Patrick Mahomes won MVP in his first full season as a starter. So it was a pretty cool trend for those 2 years to see that happen. And he did this by throwing for over 3,000 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and over 1,200 rushing yards and 7 rushes on the ground. And don't get me wrong, that's absolutely remarkable. But unfortunately for him, ever since then, not saying that he's a worse quarterback, but he hasn't put up as many prolific seasons, which puts him in a very interesting situation because he is in line for a contract extension. On one hand, this is a man that won the NFL MVP in his first season as a starter. He's clearly your franchise QB. But on the other hand, last year he threw 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions and posted his second worst rating of his young career. And look, man, I just wanted to preface this by saying that I think the standard that quarterbacks are held to in today's NFL
is absolutely absurd.
I mean, you see people already calling Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields draft busts as a result of an underwhelming rookie season. You're seeing instances where the Arizona Cardinals gave Josh Rosen a full season under a one-and-done head coach and afterwards decided to kick him to the curb. What I'm trying to say is today's NFL, at least when it comes to quarterback, is absolutely ruthless. Now, this is where things get a little interesting. You just saw Deshaun Watson get a 5-year, $230 million contract extension fully guaranteed after sitting out his previous season and with all the allegations coming out against him. You saw Aaron Rodgers just get the first $50 million per year annual salary. And at the same time, and I think this is what makes this entire situation hysterical, you're seeing Kyler Murray stamp his feet demanding a contract extension despite being drafted 1 year later than Lamar Jackson, and at least statistically and in terms of accolades, not being nearly as prolific as Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I'm saying so far, Lamar Jackson has an MVP, is a first team All-Pro, and is a 2-time Pro Bowler. Bear in mind, both of their careers are relatively young. So when Lamar Jackson decided to skip OTAs, it raised some eyebrows because so far he didn't make a big commotion about his contract situation. But today he showed up to camp, and while showing up to camp, he actually put a lot of Baltimore Ravens fans' concerns at rest. So this is Lamar Jackson's reasoning for not showing up to voluntary workout.
I just wanted to stay away and just grind. Just want to come back and just see how I felt. I feel good. I asked my guys how they feel if I stay home. They was like, it's cool. I want to get some chemistry. They'll tell me I want to get some chemistry. I'm like, man, we're going to get that regardless when we get back. And like when I first started off season back in February, James Prochet and Bate was out in California with me, and we were just hitting off back, like just throwing passes, completing passes. We were looking pretty good. So I was like, chemistry going to be there when I get there for camp. So I was just good, just trying to grind.
In terms of whether or not he believes he'll be a Baltimore Raven for his career, he put those talks at rest as well.
I expect so.
And to be honest, I wasn't really following the storyline much because I didn't think there was any threat to Lamar Jackson leaving. I didn't think the Baltimore Ravens would decide to move on from Lamar Jackson either. I feel like they are on the cusp of something special with Lamar Jackson, the Greg Roman offense, and this is while not having a true running back last year, which made things very, very difficult considering how much emphasis there is on Greg Roman's offense being able to establish the run. Ultimately, Lamar Jackson said that he will be in Baltimore for the rest of his career, and more importantly, that Deshaun Watson's contract won't affect his deal, saying, "I'm a man of my own and I don't worry what those guys get." So I think what happened is obviously the media likes making a gigantic commotion out of a player not showing up to voluntary workouts, especially the quarterback. You know how the media could be. So I think that's why people were blowing up the Lamar Jackson situation out of proportion. But I think what's even more spectacular here is Lamar Jackson underwent one hell of a transformation. Now, obviously, there is some lighting at play here. We have multiple pictures of Lamar Jackson so far and him just validating the fact that he put on muscle here. So check this out.
Muscle mass wise, usually I'd be like 205, 208. I'm 220 right now. I don't know. I just wanted to do it. See how I look, see how I feel, and I feel good.
And whenever a quarterback puts on muscle, especially if they've been emphasizing squats, there's two things that come to mind. One is the fact that maybe their range in terms of throwing power might increase. But another is the fact that maybe they'll be a little bit more durable. But on the flip side, what you're giving up once you do this is Lamar Jackson might not be as fast. He might not be as versatile. He might be a little bit more dependent on his arm, which of course is a point of contention amongst many in the NFL community. If you ever want to rile up a Ravens fan, just call Lamar Jackson a running back playing the quarterback position. No, that's not my take in general, but it is a very polarizing topic. How much can you really depend on Lamar Jackson in the pocket? There's been times where he's been brilliant, and then there's times where not so much. But to be honest, this is just me being extremely nitpicky. I mean, he is working with a dedicated trainer. He clearly has career longevity in mind. I don't think putting on 15 pounds of muscle will alter his game very much, apart from just him being a little bit more durable and capable of taking the hits that he does. He seems to be very pleased with the Baltimore Ravens' new additions of like Tyler Linderbaum.
The chemistry is great. The chemistry is great. And I threw an interception yesterday. Dalen was taking it back to the house, to the other way. I was kind of paused talking to Duve during the play, and my center Tyler was getting after it. Like, he was running them down. So I just say he's fast. He's fast as heck for a center, man. I ain't never seen a center run like that.
And ultimately, I don't think it could get much better for a Baltimore Ravens fan than what Lamar Jackson said in this interview. Personally, I wish the Baltimore Ravens would have just signed Lamar Jackson as soon as possible, because it's one of those situations where if you wait too long when you clearly are going to pay this quarterback, you're just going to end up paying him more. It's kind of like what the Dallas Cowboys do, right? They play hardball, and then another team resets the market at the position, and then they continue hardball with no contingency plan, and then they pay the player more than they originally asked for. We saw this happen with Dak Prescott, and to be honest, the Ravens are in jeopardy of it happening to them. It already kind of did. The fact that Josh Allen got his extension before Lamar Jackson isn't necessarily a good thing, because they're part of the same quarterback class. Now, there's no other prominent QB that is set to get a huge contract extension in the same draft class unless Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield come out this year and absolutely crush it, which, with respect, it could happen, but I don't necessarily think it'll happen. But if this is a situation where you see Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert get contract extensions before Lamar Jackson, in addition to Kyler Murray, then the Baltimore Ravens are going to be in some huge trouble. That's the ideal goal. I don't think the bar is set too high. I mean, if you just look at the chronological order of things, it is Lamar Jackson's turn to get his. The question is, how much is he worth? If you ask me, I would say just around what Deshaun Watson's worth, which is what makes this so sticky, because with all due respect to the Cleveland Browns, I do think they overpaid for Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson had so much leverage that they didn't really have a choice. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. What do you think about the Lamar Jackson presser? What do you think about his weight gain? What do you think about his personality? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.